So, can perhaps then can we move on to Nhlanhla?
Yes, we can. On a note that I don't think I sent a message to Mkhwanazi on the 31st. I don't remember at all. I don't remember at all.
It is a...
But we can pass.
It's from him to you.
It's from him.
So it's not
from-
alleged that
to-
you
to
sent
me
him a message.
On the 31st.
Yes.
What was he saying?
I'm not sure whether it's not apparent, Minister, from the whether this is the message that appears on the following page on 79, which I've already read to you about the Constitutional Court judgment that was issued on the 20th of December. I'm not sure whether that's the same message.
Yeah, neither do I remember or have any recollection of him sending me a message on the 31st. Okay. I did see some message said to have come from him to me at Nhlanhla Commission, but I don't want to get closer to that because I just saw it on TV. But I don't remember such a message from him to me on the 31st, nor do I remember what subject we would have been speaking about. Until I get that, I can then have a better comment.
If I can just move on, Minister, to Nhlanhla and his affidavit, which is at SM 44. It's in volume 2. It's an affidavit that is deposed to by Vusimusi Nhlanhla. It's date stamped the 22nd of September of this year, 2025, and it was commissioned by an officer at CMAX on the 22nd of September 2025. So, can I start by asking, how did you obtain this affidavit from a person who is being kept at CMAX? And I think colloquially, we all associate CMAX with high security and persons who are detained there because of its high risk, high security. Would I be correct more or less in that understanding? That CMAX is not just your ordinary prison like a Polsmoor or Drakenstein, it's high security. So how did you obtain this affidavit from him?
I got this affidavit from my lawyers, and they said they had a chat with Matlala's lawyers at their level, in their own time, their own way, and then they gave me documents that they said they received from Matlala's lawyers. How they any other thing happened, I don't have the knowledge, but I do know that my lawyers did give me the statement a couple of days or so ago to say they have this kind of a document.
So was the sole purpose of obtaining this affidavit, or procuring an affidavit from Mr. Matlala, that he denies knowing you?
On several occasions since I started preparing, I have been emphasizing to my lawyers that I don't know Matlala. I repeated that, and I said to them, my lawyers, I'm not fooling you. I'm not playing any game with you. I am honestly saying to you, I have never met Matlala. I have never seen him in my naked eye. I have never had a talk directly or indirectly with him. And I've been repeating it over and over, and at the same time saying, I know Mkhwanazi on the other hand, and how I got to know Mkhwanazi, and how he's not my associate. And I think they then took the initiative that they took to inquire on their own, and they got this affidavit. And this affidavit, when I read it, it reflects what my understanding is, that I have never met a person. The only time I got to talk more about Matlala, other than coming across the name from newspapers and social platforms, it was on the 20th of December when we started talking to General Masimula about the contract. Then that's when I started talking more about Matlala. Before that, I just come across the name Matlala and the stories about Tembisa and all of that. But I had never heard anything else to talk about Matlala.
Minister, what prompted you, just because you raised the issue of the Tshwane health contract, what prompted you to make further inquiries about the award of that contract? Because that was done and in fact signed off by the National Commissioner. I think before you became the Minister of Police. The contract, as we know, subsequently it was cancelled after he was already paid. I think a substantial 50 million or 25 million or something like that. So the question is, so what prompted you to make those inquiries, which then resulted in the contract being cancelled?
The SC to ask us to the SC to ask us to, are you saying your lawyers acted without an instruction? Because lawyers act on instructions of their clients. And minister should understand the implications of what and minister should understand the implications of what he is saying about his lawyers. Because
I'm mindful also of my 2-hour limitation, and I suppose Honorable Malema can perhaps defer that question to Honorable Minister when his turn comes. But you've heard the point.
Yes.
And maybe
Yes.
if you want to respond to Honourable
my
Malema.
My response is, Honorable Malema is quite correct. I did express a wish that if all possible, if it were to be possible, I could wish to get an understanding, even via such a document, from that person, because it was full of everywhere that, I mean, journalists in every turn, they write me and they put dots and they say I get something of a lifestyle from, without naming what is it that I've ever received from Nhlanhla, or what word has ever gone between me and Nhlanhla, but they say he funds my lifestyle. And the strangest thing, Chair, is that I have nothing that I can, they just on their own connect me, and it has never happened. So the express response is that I did express a wish that if I could, I mean, if anything could be possible.
So why would you want to obtain an affidavit from a person who has all these allegations against him and that's imprisoned at a high security prison? Why would our Minister of Police want to be associated with a person like that?
The question, or the answer to that question could be another question. Why would the Minister not wish to get the word from such a person who people out there are trying so hard to associate with me when I'm not associated with him? Why would the public not be interested in getting to know what he has to say if it were all to be possible? I even want to say that I so wish that the Nhlanhla Commission or even the Ad Hoc Committee could call him to come here to attest or to give a testimony on his own whether he really knows me. So the question is, the response to that is another question. Why would I spare any effort at all, seeing that everybody is interested in making me get, or in connecting me, in trying to connect me with Nhlanhla, when I am in fact, not at all connected to him. So I wouldn't spare any moment, and I expressed a wish. But I was on the 20th evidence leader on the 20th of December, answering your question when we took the diversion. In the interest of time, if I may proceed.
Okay. Can I just also, for the record, Honourable Chair, Honourable Members, and Minister Mchunu, that when I earlier referenced that the National Commissioner had by then signed the Swanee contract, it was in fact just signed by someone in supply chain, but the contract itself was signed in June of 2024. Now, I had already put this to you, but again, just for the record, I'd indicated that a witness will be called to say that Nhlanhla had a business relationship with you to support your campaign to become the ANC president or deputy president, and had also made some contribution to your, I think for your son.
Yes, to respond to that, I have no knowledge of such. Now, when I saw something like dinner. I saw something like a list of people who are said to have come to Cape Town for dinner, invited supposedly by myself. It almost shocked me because I had never had any discussion with anyone, Brown Mkhwanazi to be exact, about any dinner anywhere, about any contribution anywhere, and so on. So I saw all these things for the first time as we do this. As a matter of fact, I have a diary that is included here. To start with, I saw the list when I inquired. What list of guests are these? Because in January 8 dinner, it doesn't happen the way I'm hearing is said to have happened. You don't have your own dinner within dinner. You just go there as invited and you get allocated a table. You don't come with
just
your
to assist Minister also perhaps to speed up. I'm sure that honourable members will also ask you questions on this, but you deal also with the January 8 celebrations on page 82 to 88 of your statement. It starts at the bottom. Did Nhlanhla pay for my associates or guests in the January 8 celebrations? You may want to reference that or look at it.
Yes. I'm saying I've never asked, or I didn't ask anyone to organize any dinner whatsoever for me during that period. And to be specific, I never asked Brown Mkhwanazi to organize any dinner for me for whatever reason. I didn't. Nor did I compile any list and gave it to anyone to be brought to Cape Town. I never asked anyone to organize accommodation or whatever for me. And as a matter of fact, to start with, my diary was pointing me elsewhere. As a matter of fact, I didn't attend January 8 dinner and rally in Cape Town. I wasn't in Cape Town at all. I left Cape Town on the 8th, and January 8 was going to be on the 11th. Because of, no, first it was just the ordinary program, this one, I think at George. I went there for that particular function. But then this is on the 8th, and then on the 9th, which was Thursday, I departed Cape Town for Durban because there was going to be a memorial service of Professor Bengu, who had passed on. And I'm a relative of him, and I knew him very well. And I was invited to speak at his memorial service at Ishawa. So I flew early in the morning, 6:05, to go to Durban and then proceed to Eshowe. That's where I was on the 9th. And then on the 10th, it was his funeral. So I went to his funeral, which was at Beguzul Hall at the University of Zululand, still in KZN. That is on the 10th. And after that funeral service, I then flew from Richards Bay to Gqeberha. That is Nelson Mandela Bay. An ugly incident had taken place there of a young police officer who got brutally murdered. And I went to his funeral because of the emotions that were there, and to be with the family and with his loved ones. And that's how I spent those days. Now, I didn't know any dinner I didn't organize any dinner. I didn't send any list. And when I saw the list of people called, said to be my invitees, I know of no one here. There's no one that I know that I would have invited to such a dinner. It's impossible. It's impossible to just find yourself a list of people flying and saying they are coming to your dinner. So I deny with evidence that I had anything to do with that dinner sponsored or said to be sponsored by Nhlanhla, nor did I ask him directly or indirectly via any person to organize any dinner for me. If somebody went on to do this, it was not on my behalf, not in my name. I never associated or got involved in such. It was all a surprise to me when all these things unraveled afterwards.
Thank you, Minister. Okay, can we just move on to Mr. Cedric Nkabinde? He was your Chief of Staff. Before his appointment as Chief of Staff, did you know him?
Who is that?
Nkabinde, Cedric Nkabinde.
Yes, I know Nkabinde.
When did you first meet him, or for how long do you know him?
The first time I met Nkabinde, it was because I had written a letter, this letter. I don't know whether the legal team did include it for your reference. It was written, this letter was written in 2017, 29 May 2017. It was written by me to IPIT.
Yeah, sorry, just Honourable Chair, Honourable Members, it is an exhibit to bundle 6. Unfortunately, the bundle, well, the pages are not paginated, but it's about the 4th page.
Yes.
Where
it says
this is this is addressed. This is dated 29 May 2017.
Yes.
It's addressed to IPID, Independent Police Investigating Directorate, and it's about complaint against police regarding investigation on the murder of Xolani Nkosi, and it was written by you.
Yes, it's written by me.
Yeah.
Yes. If I could elaborate. How I got to know Nkabinde, it was as a result of this letter. And I want to emphasize that I heard General Mkhwanazi talking about the visit to my home by Robert McBride, who was head of IP, together with Nkabinde. Indeed, that incident did take place, but not the way he was relating it to the public. Because he spoke about them flying a long way to Durban and then driving a long way to Mpangeni as if it was leisure and as if it was some
So is this in 2017?
In 2017.
When McBride and Nkabinde, who's also with IPID, when
they were with IPID. And yes.
Yeah, they come to your house, to your home.
Yes, at Mpangeni.
And
after receiving this letter.
Yeah, and was that after you were no longer the Premier of KZN?
No, I was no longer.
Okay. So they visit you in 2017 at your home?
Yes.
Is it in connection with this, with your complaint?
Yes.
That you lodged with IPID?
Yes.
Because there was some allegation or some insinuation that you were somehow involved with the death of Xolani?
Yes.
And Xolani was your one of your bodyguards.
He was my staff, not really my close bodyguard, but he was part of the security team that he would advance where I go and check, and then he got murdered at some point, and I wasn't there around Mbangin. I was working in Ladysmith when I heard it was in the evening that he had been murdered. It was around 8.
So that was the first time you met Nkabinde?
That was the first time I met Nkabinde. And then I explained my matter, the basis of this letter, to McBride, Robert McBride. Yeah. And after we discussed the basis of this letter and everything I was complaining about, Robert McBride allocated Nkabinde to deal with the case. He said, take his details, take whatever, remain in contact, he will give you feedback on your matter. And that is what exactly happened. I maintained contact with Nkabinde. He gave me feedback in terms of what was happening. Now, the real thing that was happening is not what was insinuated in what General Mkhwanazi was saying. This was a grave matter where I believed I was unjustifiably being pursued by the Hawks, following this incident, because the Director of Prosecutions in KZN had actually advanced 7 reasons why there wouldn't be any prosecution, where I got to be associated very strangely.
Who was the KZN DPP at the time that cleared you?
I can't recall the name and surname, but following this incident, to give you some clarity, this incident at Mbangin, I followed up the matter as to where police were on the matter, and then I heard that it is now with some units in a Tegwini police unit that were investigating it, and I was satisfied with that. And then after that, I then followed up again. Then I heard that there was a rumor in KZN that I was a suspect myself in the matter of Xolani. Xolani comes from...
So did you lodge or file your complaint with IPID before you heard that you were now also a suspect, or was it afterwards?
No, it was after.
Afterwards?
Yes. I heard that I was a suspect. And this got the family very worried and myself very worried. And I had the services of a private investigator myself to say, no, now that there's a story going around which I don't know anything about, let me safeguard myself and get a private investigator. And that matter then it then took its natural course. In other words, police were investigating, and on the other hand, the private investigator got involved.
Was a private investigator that you appointed?
Yes, I had appointed.
Did this private investigator work with or assist the police?
Yes, to ensure that the matter is investigated objectively, because there were now rumors, very, very ugly and strange rumors of putting me there and so on. Now, finally what happened is that, that those matters were clarified, and the people who had been involved in the matter of Xolani got arrested, and I believe that they are still in jail as we talk, because the matter was thereafter properly investigated and so on. Now, the other matter of me being associated with him and then pursued, I smelled a rat and said, why would Hawks go out of the actual investigation? Because I do even remember that I spoke to Provincial Commissioner, he was acting, Jula, where I said, Jula, I now hear that I am a suspect. Look, if I am a suspect, This is my address, my home address. This is my office in Durban. This is my office in Pietermaritzburg as a premier. If you conclude your investigation and somehow you need me for anything, including arrest, this is where you'll find me. Otherwise, I'll be on the road working. This is my number. And I think a week thereafter, he said, no, he wrote to me and said, you are not a suspect. There is a process going on investigation, which led finally to the arrest of people who had pulled the trigger and those who had taken his cell phone, being identified and all that, and the matter was closed. So it was very strange that Hawks then started pursuing the matter on the other hand in a very strange way. It was for that reason that I then wrote the letter to say, no, what is this now? And then McBride brought in Kabinde, and then they started investigating. And to cut matters short,
did Kabinde engage with the Hawks?
they engaged the Hawks, the head of Hawks in KwaZulu-Natal at that time, to say, what is this? What is the basis? And they found out that he said, according to Kabinde, when they inquired with him, he said he was not satisfied with the reasons that were advanced by DPP, and the procedure was that they would have appealed to the national head of prosecutions instead of pursuing a matter that was now closed by DPP at provincial level. And that was out of procedure, what was happening.
So once I'm sorry to
Yes.
speed it up a bit, Honourable Minister. So once the suspects were apprehended, they were prosecuted,
Yes.
and imprisoned. What happened, or what was your relationship with Nkabinde? He is now working for IPID.
Yes.
That issue has now been resolved. So just fast forward a bit. What did you continue
Yeah.
to have a relationship? Did it strengthen with Nkabinde? Did it become personal? Just tell us a bit about that.
It was now very loose and very relaxed, not pursuing anything, because I was now satisfied. I need to have mentioned that what I said to Jula was that you can pursue me if you feel I'm a suspect, but don't lose sight of somebody whose hands are with Xolani's blood, and there's evidence to that effect. You rather do both.
Yeah.
And I put that very strongly. And that led to that person being prosecuted and so on.
But
So
Minister-
with Kabinde, it was now very loose. It would be just a call here and there, not for anything. I just appreciated the way they had done the job.
Now we heard this actually from Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, that Nkabinde then left the IPID. I'm not sure whether it was a termination, a resignation, or a dismissal, but he left
Yes.
IPID.
Yes.
I think he had a fallout allegedly with McBride,
Yes.
and he left IPID. He was unemployed for a while, and then Mkhwanazi found him a job with a security firm. I don't know if you're able to comment on that or how much you know about it. If you don't have to
Well-
comment on it. But yeah, so during this period that I'm referring to, do you still have a relationship with Nkabinde? Do you still know him? Do you still interact with him?
Now, when I called Cedric in terms of the vacancy as Chief of Staff, to say he may submit a application if he so wishes for the panel that would interview them. I did check some detail on the profile, and actually, after I spoke to him, it is not exactly as General Mkhwanazi puts it. Cedric spoke to me that all the reasons why he had to leave IPIT and circumstances thereof. After that, he got employed by the bank in their forensics department and so on. And he told me that General Mkhwanazi actually knows that Cedric got employed in the bank because he would invite General Mkhwanazi to functions of the bank because they were close, and he would attend. So he knows beyond any doubt that he got employed. So he found it strange that he is said to have been unemployed.
Yeah, they I'm not sure what the position is currently, but they were friends. They were close.
They were.
That's
Yes.
how we hear about these phone calls between Mkhwanazi and Kabinde. So
Well, I'm not
let's
sure.
just fast forward a bit. This position of Chief of Staff,
Yes.
what was it? Is it an advertised position?
No.
What are the qualifications you need to have to be a Chief of Staff of a minister in government?
Now, there is something called ministerial handbook. What happens is that when you recruit staff, you've got to look at the ministerial book and what it says about each position, and then you contact people that you think are possible candidates, and they get to a panel set up by the department that you are working for, and they get interviewed. I know this in detail because I was once Minister of Public Service and Administration, and I made sure that I introduce improvements that are in place today in terms of recruitment, so that you don't recruit anyone just because you love them or because they are associated with you or they are your relatives. We prescribed certain qualifications because if you're Chief of Staff, you are actually a Chief Director. So it can't be that you get there because you are related to the current minister. You must possess, because you get a salary paid for by the public, you must be seen to be meeting certain criteria.
So he had to meet the
had to
criteria
meet-
of qualifications for a chief director
together with
in the
other
public
people.
in
Yes,
the public service.
Definitely.
And that position is advertised.
No, that
No?
that position is not advertised. It just gets proceeded with internally.
Because I'm asking because you mentioned something about a panel. Maybe I got it wrong.
Yes,
I heard wrong.
Yes, it gets processed by the department itself internally. That there's you are supposed to have such a number of staff members, and we are ready with the panel. You can give us names and so on, including internally. People get to know inside the department that
So
there's a-
how does the panel get these names? Is it an internal?
It's an internal arrangement that you give them names of people, but other people get to know that there's a post internally within that department, and they apply. But it is a risk thing in the sense that when anyone who works with you, who agrees to work with you, has their term attached to your term. So being minister, you get appointed, but at some point you get appointed, you know that you will get disappointed at some point. And when they come, they know that they will be
Appointed and then you get
disappointed together with you.
disappointed.
Yes. So you can't easily leave a permanent post only to be disappointed the following week or so.
No, I just want to understand, how did Nkabindi's name get into the mix? If this was an internal process, how
It's-
did his name get?
It's an internal process.
Did you put forward his name?
You put forward the names as a minister, but you also allow, if there are people internally that can apply, that would wish to apply, and they do so. And so they therefore submit their profiles, why they think they are suitable, and so on, and then they get interviewed. That's the bottom line. They get interviewed.
They get interviewed, and do they then make a recommendation to you, or do they?
They do
you make the appointment.
They do give me results of the application on various aspects of what these people know, what they have in terms of skills and all of those things, even qualifications academically and so on. And then you say, look, I would rather take so and so. And looking at compliance and all of those matters.
And those records, would one be able to access them? Would they be available?
They get kept by the department.
Okay.
They get kept by the department.
So from the list of names, how many names did you get?
Well, it is in accordance with the establishment for your support as minister, as prescribed by the ministerial handbook. They allocated a specific number.
So
it's a limited number.
On what basis, or for what reason, did you prefer Nkabinde as chief of staff? Is it because of your relationship with him, which started in 2017 when he was working for IPID?
That is one factor, but the other factor is compliance. His educational qualifications, his experience, which is related to police. I had a chief of staff, but when I came to police, I realized that, look, I would benefit from somebody who has background. This is a large department, it's a police department. I would benefit if I were to get somebody who has some understanding of how police work, and so on. And I found that he met those criteria. But as a minister, when you do so, you also need somebody who you think you can trust, and so on, somebody you have some background with. And yes, that was one factor that I considered.
Now, I understand that he was only a non-commissioned, lower-level police officer. He had no senior police experience.
The post of chief of staff didn't require that I look for somebody who must have been a brigadier or must have been a general or something like that, because there was no such prescription. Prescription is there, that a person must have a certain level of qualifications, and he met those qualifications with a degree in policing and all of that, and so the level is not necessarily prescribed. Actually, you can even get somebody who has no background of policing, but I needed somebody. I thought I needed somebody who had some background of policing, because I was all of a sudden appointed there, and therefore I needed that kind of leverage.
And I suppose the other maybe unwritten criteria or qualification, or rather criteria, is you need to appoint someone that you can trust.
You definitely need somebody,
especially chief of staff.
Yes, that you have a certain level of trust with. But at the same time, you can trust a person, but only to find that they have no related experience, nor do they have qualifications. And therefore, it's quite a number of factors that you have to consider when doing so.
I also asked because there is a WhatsApp, which I'll find, or ask to find, where I think it's Mkhwanazi or Nhlanhla, they say that they're looking for your number, and then it says that they should ask Nkabinde for your number. Are you aware of it? Do you want to comment on it?
Not.
Or would this be the usual protocol? If I want your number, Honourable Minister, do I have to go through your Chief of Staff to get your number?
Now, I'm not sure I'm aware of that, but in case it happened, it wouldn't have been something that would have happened for the first time. They phone PAs, they even phone other people that I work with looking for the number. It depends on who the person who wants my contact gets to know or to get to contact. It's not just the chief of staff only, but they also do talk to other people that I work with. In some cases, they even talk to my wife wanting my numbers.
But that's at a very personal level, isn't it?
Well,
Not when it comes
not
to
necessarily.
work or business relationships.
You lose quite a chunk of your private life. They would phone her on something related to my work, wanting an appointment or something like that. Even my children, in some cases, they phone them and they say, give me your number, only to find that it's something related to work. A person requires an appointment with me for some reason or the other. It happens.
Various allegations about Mkhwanazi and Nhlanhla. It's in that context that there's reference to him and that he'll provide your number. Is that appropriate? Is that a satisfactory state of affairs?
Now, I don't know what Senior Counsel is talking about because I haven't come across it where the two would have wanted my number from Chief of Staff, but if it did happen, I'm just wondering what they would have wanted that number for and when and all of that. But as I indicated earlier, I indicated that I started interacting with the name Nhlanhla, not him, after the 20th of November. So if they were looking for my number after the 20th via the Chief of Staff, it could have been something to do with that issue. But even there, I would still, wonder what it was all about.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Thank you. Then you, I'm moving on from Nkabinde now.
Yes.
You wanted to reference some what you call discrepancies in Mkhwanazi's account, and it's in your statement at page 33.
Yes. I wanted to touch on those briefly, on those discrepancies. Which bundle? On page?
No, it's not 33. Page, it's 24, sorry. Page 24 to 33. 24, there's a subheading, discrepancies in Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi's accounts. And, it goes to page 33.
Yes, I'm trying.
You want to address that?
I'm trying to get some assistance to get to those. Oh, yes. Yes. Well, I wouldn't want to take a lot of time, seeing that we don't have as much time. I'll just make a few references where I came across very, very, very concerning discrepancies. I've already pointed at one discrepancy in relation to what I said in Parliament on the 5th of March. And related to what he said on the 6th of March, and that there's a yawning discrepancy, very disturbing discrepancy between the two. But the ones that I want to talk about here is one is where General Mkhwanazi is continuously referring to, in his affidavits, to the National Political Killings Task Team as a KwaZulu-Natal Political Killings Task Team. The actual official name of the team is National Political Killings Task Team, and it's important that we stick with that particular reference, because if you juggle, you get to mislead the public. maybe intentionally, maybe unintentionally. Number two, on the 6th, at the media briefing that he did, asserted that the National Political Killings Task Team had been disbanded as a result of my directive of the 31st of December 2024 letter. And in the same breath claimed that today, that day, the 6th, they are bringing all dockers to Sibia as a result of the disbandment. He linked things that are not linked. The disbandment, the directive that I gave to dockets. In my directive, there's no reference whatsoever to dockets. There's no reference whatsoever to Sibia. So when you read the directive and you make a public appearance shortly thereafter, or sometime thereafter, and you say as a result of that directive, I am now taking dockets, you make the public believe that following your directive, you are now taking the dockets to a Sibia, and you link the two in a troubling kind of manipulation. Or manipulated
Yeah, I
kind
think
of
it's
relations.
pretty clear to me, Minister,
Yes.
that
The next one,
that the dockets were requested by Sibia
Yes.
and not by you.
but in the Nhlanhla Commission, General Mkhwanazi then changed completely, and he then spoke about acknowledging the continuing operations of a National Political Killings Task Team, notwithstanding my disbandment. He did say expressly that work is continue to operate even in 2025. That's what he was saying. So quite worrying discrepancy as a result. The next one, before Nhlanhla Commission, General Mkhwanazi suggested that Parliament had failed to act after his 5th March appearance before the SAPS Portfolio Committee, including that Parliament had been confronted with the same WhatsApp and proof of payment evidence that he had publicly alleged. And I know that subsequent to that, the Honorable Chair did confirm that there was no such at the Portfolio Committee. And I did attend. There was no such a presentation. And there are a number of those. I don't want to exhaust all of them. But also somewhere in point 66, during the Ad Hoc Committee hearings on 9 October, the honorable members, yes, that's what I'm saying, the chair of the Portfolio Committee did deny all these things being presented, including any commentary from SAPS, because in that meeting, SAPS never raised any concern whatsoever about the disbandment. They just presented compliance and so on. But the other discrepancies, Mr. Nhlanhla, or any 360 million tender was not presented there and so on. So there are quite a number of discrepancies. I'm just making references to them in the interest of time, that come about in his statements depending on the platform. And that is very, very worrying.
Well, you've set it out in your statement.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister, Honourable Chair. That concludes this part of our questioning. As usual, at the back end, you're a cricket man at the back end. If I can get the opportunity of asking a few more questions, depending obviously how it goes with the honourable members' questioning of the Minister. Thank you very much, Minister.
Yeah, Minister and SC, thank you so much. It has been a protracted session, starting from Thursday, last week. I think you deserve a 20 minutes break. We will come back at 11. Thank
No,
you.
I would want to use part of my 20 minutes because Senior Counsel asked me a question that while I was just starting, I had just started on the contract. Then we got diverted to something else. It is very important to explain that in a way.
Yeah, you can explain that in 3 minutes.
I would do so.
Yeah, we must break at 20 minutes before 11.
Yes, I'll take 1 minute to add another contrast.
Yeah.
On the 6th of July, General Mkhwanazi made an allegation to the public that I was guilty for interfering on police operations and on protecting syndicates and all of those. But when he was confronted by one member of the Ad Hoc Committee in the Portfolio Committee, he publicly said, I quote, I wouldn't say corrupt per se, but on the 6th, he told the public that I'm corrupt, public. That's why I was saying the other time, I'm like wearing his allegations and smelling his allegations. Then he tells the public that no, I wouldn't say corrupt per se, and so on. A police officer can't talk like that. A police officer must say, this person is corrupt, here is my evidence. He can't become a politician per se, although chair members, because of what has happened, you are now looking at the trust. You would have looked for the trust and for any other thing and put it on the table and then go to the TV rather than going to TV first. And then you come back, you say, I'm looking for this. Otherwise, all of us would be guilty on a daily basis if police officers in South Africa just go to TV and say, you are corrupt, but I'm looking for evidence. I'm looking for this and that and so on. That's the first thing. Very, very worrying contrast if we could have high-ranking officers working like that in the Republic. But let me go for this. On the 20th, Chair, it's important to highlight that it is Minister of Police, Senzo Mchunu, who at this moment is on suspension, who initiated the cancellation of the tender, 360 million. And I read that News 24 article early in the morning, just after 6. And when we were flying to KZN together with the National Commissioner, I gave him my cell phone. I said, have you looked at this thing, this article? And he looked at it and he said, yes, I know about this. I did make an inquiry with supply chain about this, and they said, no, the tender had been done properly. That's what National Commissioner said. And he added by saying, if you want a briefing, I can organize a briefing for you. And I said, National Commissioner, I would want a briefing because if the Portfolio Committee asked me about this, I wouldn't be able to answer, even though it was awarded before I came. And that's how we landed at the process that was now reviewing this, which ended up with all of us agreeing that the tender was so flawed that it actually shouldn't have been awarded in the first place, and it led to its cancellation. So I want this ad hoc committee to know, and everybody to know that I initiated the cancellation. So I was very worried when National Commissioner made a joinder at Nhlanhla Commission saying he wonders whether I knew that the tender belonged to Nhlanhla. The article I showed him on the cell phone was clearly written Nhlanhla. He saw it. So I didn't know why he is now wondering that I possibly may not have seen. Now, supposedly twisting the sentiment to the public in a worrying, manipulative manner, that I showed him the article blindfolded, and had I known that it was the tender belonged to Nhlanhla, was awarded to Nhlanhla, I wouldn't have done what it did. I want to make it public that I got both shocked and disturbed by that. I have very good relations with the National Commissioner. He would have known me by then, and it shouldn't have surprised him. And even now, if I see the thing, I would still have said, cancel this tender. And that's why I engaged on the process and saw it to the end. I saw that the tender had been awarded to Nhlanhla. I deliberately initiated this and followed up even in January, leading up to the cancellation. And I confirm that I stand by that initiative. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, honorable members. May we break until 11 o'clock.